Hello and welcome to Nationwide. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. We're live across the nation, joining Lagos, Maiduguri, Ibadan, and Enugu, bringing you the latest news, education updates, and sports highlights. So let's get into the details, starting from Abuja, where Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for collective action to actualize the administration's skills acquisition drive, saying the era of working in isolation is over. He gave the charge during the 7th meeting of the National Council on Skills at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
The skills revolution is one of the promises of the Tinubu administration to Nigerians. Vice President Kashim Shettima at this meeting charged relevant stakeholders to unite in ensuring that every Nigerian acquires the skills needed, commending Kaduna State government for setting up and chairing the first Council on Skills, describing it as exemplary, urging other subnationals to follow suit.
The era of operating in silos is over. We must move towards a new streamlined workflow that embeds collaboration directly into the process of curriculum development and funding. This new process isn't just for our own convenience. It is for the ambitious artisan in Kaura Namoda seeking certification, for the mid-career worker in Ebute Meta needing to reskill, and for the technical colleges across this nation that need funding to become true centers of excellence.
The way to go is skills in Nigeria. That's the only way we can be able to address the issue of unemployment, empower our youths so that they can be gainfully employed. We have a lot of deficit in the area of skills in Nigeria, and that's the reason why the investment in the area of skills by the federal government is unprecedented. There's no government in the history of Nigeria that invested in the area of skills. That is very government, and I feel it's highly commendable.
Recently, you heard us release a new curriculum, which is heavily focused on skills. We've streamlined it with a clear emphasis on 6 skills that will be done at junior secondary schools and secondary schools. And these are skills that have been mapped to the needs of the country.
At the end of the day, Nigerians have skills. Nigerians have something to do. Nigerians have work ab initio before even coming out. So as you're growing up, you're growing with skill, and then the Labour Ministry will not have barrages of unemployed people.
The Kaduna Vocational and Skills Development Institute recently admitted over 30,000 students, part of stronger commitment to ensuring that the council achieves its established goals, particularly in job creation. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Still in the State House, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has unveiled a new national competition, RHI Green Nigeria Challenge, set up to promote clean and green environment across the country through community participation. She unveiled the competition in the Villa during the 3rd quarterly high-level meeting with state coordinators of Renewed Hope Initiative.
They have environmental sanitation days. So you have to lead by example. So people have to see you do what you want them to do. And it's more appealing and attractive that way. So that's how we went about that. For us, we too can start. This land belongs to us, and we want a clean land. And we are blessed with all.
In the ceremony, Enugu State was announced as the model green state with a check sum of 100 million naira reward.
It's not in planting trees, but in environmental cleanliness. If you go to Enugu, Enugu is clean.
No, the thing to keeping the state clean is not just by giving instructions, it's also by being very proactive in what he's been doing. It's more like seeing things, picking it up, you know, like moving around, going on inspections. So that has actually helped greatly in making Enugu State clean.
The competition, which runs in 3 categories, including households, communities and states, offers Nigerians incentives to plant trees and tackle unsafe plastic disposal and unclean environments. From the villa to legislative matters, as the Public Accounts Committee of the House of Representatives has described as inaccurate some media reports which quoted the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, as alleging that the current administration was involved in reckless borrowing and associated debts. The committee clarifies that Speaker, represented by Majority Leader of the House, Julius Ihovere, at the West African Association of Public Accounts Committee Annual Conference, did not criticize Nigeria's debt profile. Instead, it says the Speaker charged members of the Public Accounts Committee from West African countries to deepen their oversight of public debt expenditure in order to ensure that there is value for money. Similarly, the House of Representatives Committee on Pension reminds pension fund administrators on the need to always comply with the Corporate Social Responsibility Law as provided for by the Act guiding their operations. Committee Chairman Hussein Mohammed Jallo stated this during an engagement with the management of Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate to appraise last year's budget's performance. National Assembly correspondent Isa Muhammad has more.
Restating its commitment to the welfare of pensioners on the heels of the ongoing pension reforms, the committee says it will not tolerate any failure to capture appropriations for social corporate responsibilities that better the lives of clients.
Once all companies in Nigeria will abide by the issue of corporate social responsibility, it is helping the government in providing the necessary amenities to the populace, and that will go a long way ameliorating the problem being faced by Nigerians as a whole.
PITAD will continue to explore all means possible in conjunction with other stakeholders to enhance the welfare of its pensioners in consonance with the renewed hope mandates of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
It could be recalled that the Pension Transition Arrangement Directorate, PITAD, was established in compliance with the provisions of Section 42, Subsection 1 of the Pension Reform Act 2014, empowered to wind down the functions of the old pensions office. In Abuja, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has condemned what it described as an attempt to bar Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduan from resuming in the Senate after serving her 6-month suspension. In a statement, PDP's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugwagba, faulted the reported action of the Clerk of the National Assembly, which, according to the opposition party, is a calculated move to silence Akpoti-Oduan and deny the people of Kogi Central their right to representation. The party described the move as provocative, stressing that it not only violates the 1999 Constitution as amended and the standing rules of the Senate, but also poses a grave danger to democratic governance and national stability. The federal government states that allowing partial rice importation is not to undermine local production, but to mitigate the impact of high food costs resulting from the removal of the fuel subsidy. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, stated this in an interview with NTA, emphasizing that the administration is supporting local producers to be competitive within local and international markets.
5 years ago, Nigeria set agenda to produce enough rice to meet the country's demand and export the surplus. The initiative was designed to be achieved under the National Rice Development Strategy. 5 years into the journey, key stakeholders including farmers, processors and marketers converged here to review progress made so far. Officials from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, along with development partners, presented their success stories and challenges.
Over the first few years, Nigeria has recorded remarkable progress in rice production. Yields have improved through better agronomic practices and adoption of improved seed varieties.
The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, stated that Nigeria is on the right track. He noted that the current administration has not deviated from the Rice Revolution program.
All policies that have been undertaken by President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu successfully to change the structure of our economy so that all those in domestic production, what they are producing is competitive and can be sold elsewhere in the world.
An NTA investigation shows that the prices of unmilled and processed rice have dropped by about 50% across the country. However, farmers are raising concerns that this development is not commensurate with the cost of production. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And let's move on to North Africa, where made in Nigeria products are taking the spotlight again, expanding into new markets and attracting fresh demand across Africa. Comfort Amodu reports from the 2025 Intra-African Trade Fair, where Nigerian businesses are pitching their strengths and forging connections with key players on the continent.
Nigeria is making a bolder statement on the global stage with its dynamic participation at the IATF 2025, showcasing a diverse range of products, innovations and investment opportunities, positioning itself as a key driver of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA.
A lot of MOUs are being signed. At NEPC, we will now follow through to ensure that we seal it. And there's a lot of communication and networking between them and other countries.
And from manufacturing and agriculture to fintech and creative industry, Nigeria's presence reflects its ambition to deepen intra-African trade and strengthen economic ties across the continent.
The egusi particularly, when you speak to them about it, they understand they in fact want to eat it as snack. I've heard a number of them ask me if they can just chew it.
Our standards are global, both African standards, Nigerian standards, international standards. We are second to none. As far as I'm concerned, we don't have real competition in Africa.
For the very first time, the IATF will be held in West Africa, and Nigeria actually won the bid to host the next IATF in 2027. From Algiers, Algeria, I'm Comfort Amodu, NTA News.
And still at the Intra-African Trade Fair in Algiers, former President Olusegun Obasanjo is in the news with a message. Africa must unite to achieve the Africa we want. He told global and trade leaders that rhetoric is no longer enough. Only concrete action and political will can deliver integration and real development across the continent.
Can we trade more among ourselves? How much do we know of what we produce? We need to go back and make sure that we manage diversity very well, so that we have inclusivity in our management of diversity.
Former Afrexim Bank President Benedict Orama struck a similar tone, stressing that Africa cannot grow trade without tearing down the barriers that still holds businesses back.
Infrastructure carries today about $1.4 trillion of trade. The problem is, or the question is, why is the African trade share of that just 200 to 300 billion? Why is it not 700 billion? So the Inter-African Trade Fair provides that opportunity to begin to break down the information barrier, which was caused by the fragmentation arising from colonialism.
Comfort Amodu reports that harmonizing policies and cutting red tape are some of the recommendations coming out of the IATF 2025, pushing that the continent be ready not just to trade, but to thrive. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, reiterates Nigeria's resolve to deepening the strong Nigeria-Angola bilateral relations for the mutual benefit of both countries, signaling a strong and renewed partnership. This was when Bianca Ojukwu declared open the 5th session of Nigeria-Angola Bilateral Economic Joint Commission in Luanda, Angola. The minister, in a statement, points out part of the outcomes of the closing that include activation of the Joint Commission covering strategic sectors such as education, health, defense, banking, oil and gas, aviation, culture, youth development, media, and many more. Furthermore, the twinning agreements between Nigerian and Angolan states of Bayelsa, Namibe, and Nasarawa, Bengo are also in consideration. 13 out of 19 agreements have been finalized and signed by both countries in the session, and 4 working groups have been tasked to streamline future cooperation. Back at home, the Nigerian Independent System Operator NISO has attributed the system disturbance which resulted in loss of power from the national grid to tripping off of a generation company. The incident, NISO says, resulted in significant load drop that cascaded to other generation companies, leading to system disturbance. NISO says restoration of the grid has commenced immediately with supply to Abuja from Shiroro power plants. A substantial restoration has been achieved across the country. Investigation has commenced with outcome to determine proactive action to forestall future occurrence. And from that, we go over to our Lagos Network Center, and Hingino will take it up from here.
Deji, and welcome to Lagos. Effective agricultural practices
glitches there, but surely if we can re-establish contact with our Lagos Network Center before the end of Nationwide, surely we will. But let's continue here from Abuja because the federal government, but before we continue here in Abuja, let's go for a break. Nationwide, we'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has refused the bail application of the Defense Counsel to the 5 suspects allegedly involved in the 2022 attack on St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, Ondo State, Southwest Nigeria. Chukwunonso Nwabueze reports that the 5 suspects are facing a 9-count charge bordering on terrorism preferred against them by the federal government.
Judge Justice Emeka Nwite, while delivering the ruling, stated that after due consideration of the 2 sets of affidavit for and against the bail application by defense and prosecution counsel, held that the character of evidence against the applicants are very strong. That considering the serious nature of the offense, the defendant applicants are charged with the nature and character of evidence against them. The respondent, which is the prosecution, has made a strong case of a likelihood of the applicants running away from justice and with no possibility of them being reapprehended, considering their connection to foreign fighter linked to the Al-Shabaab terrorist group. Justice Nwite further held that there is a strong belief that the defendant applicants will interfere with prosecution witnesses and undermine the effective and successful prosecution of the case, and in the process undermining the criminal justice system. And having carefully considered the affidavit evidence and the proof of evidence available before him, at this point in time, the judge held that the prosecution respondent has succeeded in raising a reasonable presumption of criminal responsibility on the part of the defendant applicants, consequently refusing the application.
We are happy with the judge for agreeing with our position that terrorists or terror suspects should not be allowed to roam our society. And the reason is because we have witnesses that we need to protect, as well as the fact that they may abscond if they are allowed to go out on bail.
We always look at it from two faces. Whichever it comes, you know, they know more than us. That's why we call them the wisdoms. They know more than us, so it has a reason for ruling that way. But remember, the matter has not finished. We are just starting.
The matter has been adjourned to the 16th of October 2025, with every likelihood of an accelerated adjudication. Chukunonso Mwabweze, NTN News.
Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. It is a day set aside to heighten awareness on this global societal ill, to change the narrative, reduce associated stigma, and encourage open conversation is therefore the catch for this year. Correspondent Rafia Animashal Badmas tells us more.
Suicide is a major public health challenge with more than 700,000 deaths each year globally. Each suicide has far-reaching social, emotional, and economic consequences and deeply affects individuals and communities worldwide.
Some even get frustrated by their wives, and then they find that there is no other way than to, you know, maybe just end their life. But that's not a solution.
Possible solution is peer support, having social support. When you have people amongst you, people you can talk to, even on days you hear the voices in your head.
The majority of those who die from suicide have a background mental disorder, such as depression. And if this is identified early, it can be prevented. And so we can actually prevent suicide deaths from occurring. Attempted suicide remains a crime punishable by 1 year imprisonment. This law needs to change. We need to decriminalize attempted suicide.
World Suicide Prevention Day 2025 theme, Creating Hope Through Action, highlights the power of a small act of kindness, open conversations, and timely support in suicide prevention. In Ibadan, Rafia Animashal Badmos, NT News.
And from the streets of the Pesito State in Ibadan, there we go to the studio of our network center, where Lanre will give us the latest from there.
And welcome to Ibadan. The Remi Oseni Committee of Friends, ROCOF, has again thrown its weight behind President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid come 2027. The group's president, Remi Oseni, reaffirmed this commitment, along with the resolve to return the All Progressives Congress, APC, to power in Oyo State. Wasiu Rao's report is here presented.
The House of Representatives member for Ido, Ibarakpa Federal Constituency, Remi Oseni, who is also the president of the ROCOF, described the gathering as just a meeting, calling it a movement, a revolution of hope for Ido local government and beyond. He noted that ROCOF will spread across Oyo State, driving unity and shared purpose. The lawmaker charged members of ROCOF mandate and mobilized strongly for President Bola Tinubu's 2027 re-election bid and to work towards returning the APC to power in Oyo State.
The people of Oyo State are hungry, thirsty for hope, and it is a testament that when vision meets action, transformation become unstoppable.
Meanwhile, the Director General of ROCOF Assembly and other stakeholders maintained that the group will continue to work stronger to achieve its goals.
We are undiscriminatory, so the best thing for our people is for them to be faithful to ROCOF, whereby also we now reciprocate any gesture that they do positively to the upliftment of ROCOF.
There is continuity in what we are doing, then we're going to have a better nation, a better state, rather than when a governor starts a program now, another one comes in, it stops.
The ROCOF Assembly is targeting a membership strength of 1,000 by December this year.
Health, they say, is wealth. This is why, after 30 years of graduation, coming together for the 1993 set of Nigerian University's Accounting Students Association, NUASA, University of Ilorin chapter, is an opportunity to ensure everyone maintains great health. Regular exercise, medical checkup, and having enough sleep are therefore recommended. Kehinde Omolosho completes the report.
While advising the gathering to look out for themselves, the medical experts implored them not to only know their status, but to manage it to ensure a healthy living. His advice is for them to watch what they eat and exercise regularly.
Things like hypertension, diabetes, we regard them as silent killers because they don't show symptoms until it has done a lot of damage in the body. But if we do regular tests, we can pick it up early, that we can give you advice on how to prevent.
Chairman of the reunion committee is excited about the reunion, which is the first since graduation and an opportunity to reconnect, fraternize, and plan for the future.
It's good that we beat ourselves, but at the same time, we still look beyond our environment to see what we can do, at least to cushion some people that are in need. Previously, at least we donated some printers to the department, but we still hope to develop and build more on this.
Most of us are cycling into the period of retirement now, and so we want to plan the future, reflect on what we've done in the past, and also work together.
After this reunion now, we'll take it up from here so that at least the bonding of ourselves together as a family, call ourselves a family, will continue.
Zonal Director, NTA Ibadan Network Center, Taiwo Iterogba, was excited meeting his old friends.
We are able to interact. What is everybody doing at the moment, and where do we move on from here? It's such an exciting time we have shared together, and it's a wonderful one. And we can only urge those that have not come on board to please come on board.
The atmosphere was filled with music, while members were treated to sumptuous meals. The appeal is for other members of the set to join the team so as to improve on the support for their alma mater while helping each other to grow together. Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
And those are the trendy reports from Ibadan. This hour nationwide continues with Ayodeji in our Abuja studio.
Thanks so much, Lanre. But we're not done with Ibadan as we now connect with Rofia Animasha, who earlier gave us a report on suicide prevention strategies. Now, Rofia, that report was incisive. Tell us more about efforts to ensure that this scourge or this particular ill is drastically reduced.
Suicide is a major public health challenge. It is believed that underreporting is one of the problems associated with suicide than for most other causes of death. Report shows that nearly 800,000 individuals globally succumb to suicide, with many more attempting it, as reported by World Health Organization. Findings also show that suicidal conflicts, job loss, and bereavement are suicidal triggers. To avoid suicidal ideation. The theme for the year, Changing the Narratives of Suicide, aims to raise awareness to prevent suicide, reduce stigma, and encourage open conversations. Medical experts believe that there is need to prioritize suicide prevention and mental health in a policy making, calling for government action. Changing the narrative requires advocating for policies that prioritize mental health, increase access to care, and provide support for those in need. They, however, recommended fostering supportive environment, crisis interventions, and psychological rehabilitation services.
That we commemorate on a yearly basis. Some of those statistics are staggering, as even those who are not up to 18 now even contemplate suicide. How much of engagement are we having across different frontiers to ensure that people are well sensitized and they are made to feel free at least to discuss their problems?
In most government policy, they have to be reviewed. Psychiatrists opine that government policy giving one year imprisonment for suicide attempt has to be eradicated, in as much as they have to be encouraged, and interventions have to be put in place to ensure that worries or whatever things that are not in place by individuals have to be corrected, and government have to put its certain policies in place to ensure that suicide attempts are not encouraged in any way.
Really interesting to know the level of efforts being put on ground out there by medical experts and relevant stakeholders to ensure that suicide is drastically reduced and people feel comfortable to share their problems instead of taking their own lives. Rofia Anima Shao in Ibadan would like to thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Well, it would not be suicidal here in the studio if we go for a break. Nationwide, we'll be back shortly. Thanks for staying tuned. And from Abuja, we'll go to the northeast in Maiduguri, where Abubakar Musa is standing by to give us the latest from the Home of Peace.
See you, Ayodeji, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. Qatar Charity Foundation representative in Nigeria has unveiled an empowerment package for 45 youths in Maiduguri as part of humanitarian support to Borno State. The items were received by the state government through the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Poverty Alleviation. Here is Pauline Kujivana with the rest of the story.
We will do our best, inshallah, to provide everything in our power to serve those people at the bottom.
The empowerment items include 15 grinding machines, 15 keke napep, and 15 open-body tricycles, targeting selected beneficiaries drawn from the Association of Keke napep riders and grinding millers to enable them establish sustainable means of livelihood. Secretary to the State Government, Bukar Tijani, and Commissioner for Youth, Sport and Poverty Alleviation, Sayin Abuba, commended the intervention, describing it as a welcome relief to unemployment and poverty in the state.
On behalf of His Excellency, I hope they will maintain what has been given to them to sustain them and their families.
Solemnly, this institute is for the orphanage. We are going to enroll them in Western education. We are going to enroll them in Quranic education, train them as they are getting the knowledge. We have also mechanic area there. We are giving them skills.
After the presentation, officials of the Qatar Charity Foundation, together with the representatives of the state government, visited a site allocated to the organization by Borno State Government, where a mosque and an integrated boarding facility for orphans have been constructed to support the state's recovery and rehabilitation efforts. Meanwhile, discussions are ongoing with the Qatar Charity Foundation on additional empowerment initiatives and humanitarian interventions aimed at supporting the government's recovery agenda and strengthening resilience among youth and vulnerable groups. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
The protection of critical national assets and infrastructure has been described as an obligation that must be vigorously upheld for sustained security and economic stability of Nigeria. This was the key outcome of a state-level security coordination meeting on the protection of critical national assets and infrastructure held in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital.
The state-level security coordination meeting, which attracted military and paramilitary organizations in Borno, followed a directive from the Office of the National Security Advisor, as well as headquarters of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The idea is for stakeholders within the security sector and beyond to consolidate interagency collaboration, strengthen intelligence sharing, in addition to establishing practical frameworks for overall protection of vital national assets and infrastructure in Borno. Discussants, including representatives of the traditional institution and the media, reiterated the importance of safeguarding national assets, saying any compromise in that regard will translate to economic sabotage, insecurity, and disruption to national development.
It has a good result. Even with our little discussions, there is an understanding there that, yes, they are ready to partner with us.
There's need for the stakeholders, we in the security cycle, to come down and sit down.
So collaboration is critical toward achieving a success.
Participants unanimously agreed to adopt a clear framework for joint security operations on national assets, strengthen information and intelligence sharing mechanisms, treating reports from whistleblowers with utmost confidentiality, and the need for quarterly review meetings for continuous assessment and improvement.
We're done from Maiduguri for now. Let us, at this point, return to Ayodeji in Abuja.
Thanks so much, Abubakar, in our Maiduguri Network Center. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar has congratulated Cheikh Niang on his appointment as Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Senegal. The new Foreign Affairs Minister, until his appointment, was the permanent representative of Senegal to the United Nations in New York and also served as an ambassador to Japan and to South Africa. Nigeria's foreign minister describes Niang's elevation as a well-deserved recognition of his distinguished diplomatic career. Yusuf Tugar, in a statement, also expresses Nigeria's readiness to further advance the diplomatic relations with Senegal. Tugar points out that Nigeria and Senegal enjoy a long-standing relationship in diplomacy, trade, culture, and regional peace-building efforts. Zamfara State's government is working with relevant stakeholders, including security agencies and development partners, to safeguard educational institutions, students and teachers from attacks. This collaboration aims to create a safe and secure learning environment free from the threats of banditry and kidnapping. Correspondent Haliru Muhammad takes a look at the measures being taken to make schools safer in Zamfara State.
The persistent security challenges in Zamfara State, characterized by banditry and kidnapping, have severely been impacting the education sector. This has resulted in school closures, teacher and students' displacement, low enrollment, and high dropout rates, among other effects. To address this crisis, the state government is implementing the Safe School initiative to protect students, teachers, and staff from attacks.
We are working with traditional rulers and communities to develop solutions and provide support. Training of students and teachers. Plan is underway to train students and teachers on resilience and psychosocial support to victims of attack.
The state government is also collaborating with relevant stakeholders to make schools safer.
We need to work together as development partners, key stakeholders, to ensure schools are safe for our children to learn continuously.
Zamfara State should domesticate a national policy on safety, security, and violence-free schools.
This initiative, which is coming a few days to the resumption of basic and secondary schools in the state, is expected to help in reopening schools closed due to insecurity and addressing other related challenges. In Gusau, Haliru Muhammad, NTA News.
We now join Haliru Muhammad in Gusau to throw more light on measures Zamfara State government is taking to create a safe and secure learning environment. Haliru, it is often said that every crime is local, so the solution must be local. Tell us more.
Good afternoon and welcome to Gusau, the Zamfara State capital. As you have heard from the report just taken, Zamfara State has been suffering from various security challenges, which has definitely affected various sectors of the economy, including education. You may recall that various schools were attacked in the past, which has definitely led to the closure of many schools in various parts of the state, including boarding schools which are even located in Gusau, the state capital. Now, Zamfara State government is taking adequate measures to ensure that these security challenges are being addressed, so that most of these schools that have been closed will be reopened for students and teachers to continue with their academic activities. The state government has recently initiated an education emergency support fund amounting to 10 billion naira, which will be used to support education in areas that are mostly affected by banditry and kidnappings across the state. The state government is also collaborating with various stakeholders, as you have heard from the report, including local communities who have been fully involved in the designing and implementation of some of these measures so that our children can go back to school safely and continue to learn under a very conducive atmosphere. So the state government is doing a lot in that regard, and teachers and students are also being trained and provided with communication tools so that they can respond to emergencies whenever they arise.
Obviously, a ray of hope for the safe return of students and teachers back to school to boost their education capacity there in a very secure environment. Harley would like to thank you for your contribution in Gusau, Zamfara State. Now, the Memorandum of Understanding between the Nigerian Air Force and Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative is more than an administrative agreement, but a visionary blueprint for national transformation as it underscores the role of cross-sector collaboration in addressing complex systemic challenges such as climate change, energy, poverty, and national security. Those were the words of the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, at the handing over of CNG buses to the Nigerian Air Force in Abuja. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
The partnership is poised to create a multiplier effect to reducing Nigeria's carbon footprint, improving operational efficiency within the military, and promoting local content development in the energy sector. By aligning military capability with sustainable energy innovation, Nigeria demonstrates that the path to resilience and prosperity lies not in silos, but in synergy.
So for us in the Nigerian Air Force, this development is of strategic importance. The integration of compressed natural gas-powered platforms into Nigerian Air Force's operations represents a step toward reducing reliance on conventional fuels, cutting operational costs, and aligning military support services with national energy reforms.
This is about the commitment to sustainable, safer, innovative way, and to pitch in to the initiative established and created by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And this is our own way of saying thank you to the Nigerian Air Force for defending us all this while.
This collaboration not only reflects Nigeria's growing commitment to environmental sustainability, but also marks a paradigm shift in how military institutions can contribute to national energy security and climate action. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And from Abuja, we'll go to Enugu, and Comfort has some news for us there.
And welcome to Enugu Network Center. Ahead of school resumption, Enugu State Governor Dr. Peter Mbah has tasked community leaders to ensure proper maintenance and sustainability of the smart green schools in their various localities by ensuring maximum security. Chika Ugu reports that the governor gave the charge at a stakeholders workshop organized by the state government with the theme Smart Green Schools, Security, Ownership, Accountability, and Sustainability Strategy.
The stakeholders workshop, which brought together council chairmen, traditional rulers, president generals, stakeholders in the education sector, and the civil society, was an interactive forum to deliberate on ways to sustain the smart green schools across the state, expected to resume in the next academic session. The governor represented said the state government has invested a lot to ensure the actualization of the schools in order to give the children a befitting future through experiential learning, and therefore urged the various community leaders to complement government efforts by ensuring they maintain the infrastructures.
As we speak, the mayors are on the field with their team, their lieutenants, making sure that each of the smart schools are ready for students to get in by the 22nd. We are working diligently to ensure that. But the ultimate goal, as directed by His Excellency, Dr. Peter Ndubisi, is that every child in Enugu will walk into a smart school.
The community leaders commended the state government for the project and promised to take ownership of the facilities.
For all the PGs to be aware that they are now in charge of their different smart schools in their place, and they are to know that the ownership now belongs to them, and they are now to sustain it.
The Smart Green School is an initiative of the state government to transform education and learning process, as well as empower future generations. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
That's all from here. Let's now take you back to Abuja for more reports on Nationwide.
Thanks. Let's take a look at what's trending in the world of sports.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria are in danger of missing out on 2 consecutive FIFA World Cup. This follows their 1-1 draw with Bafana Bafana of South Africa on Tuesday. The result leaves Nigeria in 3rd place with 14 points behind Benin Republic, who thrashed Lesotho 4-0 to go 2nd with 14 points. South Africa lead Group C with 17 points and might just need a win in the remaining 2 games to seal 2026 World Cup ticket. This situation has left Nigerians disappointed.
The wrong lineup, so I think that's where they got it wrong.
Let's say things as it is. I don't see Nigeria qualifying to this World Cup. I sincerely pray that we'll change this mentality in winning. They say a journey of 100 miles begins with a step. So if we want to start the journey of the World Cup in the qualifying stage, we need to start winning games in the early stage, not waiting for all this calculation, because I think we're in a very tight corner.
Meanwhile, Portugal captain Cristiano Ronaldo has become the joint top goal scorer in World Cup qualifying history in Portugal's 3-2 win over Hungary on Tuesday. Ronaldo scored his 39th goal from the penalty spot in the World Cup qualifying campaign and joined Guatemala's Carlos Ruiz as the highest scorer. Finally, Nigeria's Aruna Quadri has advanced to the round of 16 of the 2025 WTT Championship in Macau. The world number 26 defeated China's Huang Wenzheng 3-0 in the men's singles. With sports updates, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Our sports and notes will end nationwide. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. On behalf of the entire production crew, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.